Hey everybody, welcome back. HSC Podcast 133. Got Big Box Steve on the mic, got the big smooth and fresh Wes. And here we go into the couple final weeks of NFL and getting into college playoffs and bowls.
Playoffs.
Playoffs, what are you talking about? What else? And NBA mid-season. I mean, they're getting going. There's a lot of stuff happening right now. I think this is a good time of year for sports. Obviously, Christmas. Didn't hear any Christmas comments about our Christmas movies, Derek. That was a that was a fail. So maybe at least we can get it from our families can comment about Christmas movies. But we'll have
Well,
to do a couple top fives and a couple what makes a Christmas movie. So we'll get into that later. So don't forget to subscribe and like. Don't forget to leave a comment. Tell us what you want to hear. But you guys want to get into college football first or NFL?
there's not much to talk about college. I mean, we talked about it all last week. Nothing's happened since.
Well, Heisman happened.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
Boo.
Oh, you don't want to talk about it, but the listeners may want to hear.
Yeah. Boo.
I mean, I know you don't like I mean, okay,
Hard
well, let's just say statistically, Genty obviously should have won.
thing.
But how much does what Hunter does on both sides of the ball play a part of that versus how much better Genty's like say Heisman statistics are than maybe like a what's his name from Alabama?
Derrick Henry,
No,
Mark
the guy who won it
Ingram,
before, like in '09.
not Mark Ingram,
Mark
but
Ingram, yeah.
yeah.
Remember Mark Ingram won it? He had like 1,500 yards and he averaged only like 110 or something a game, and Genty's averaging 190. So, well, I guess here's the question I have for you guys. Okay, so Genty's statistics, comparatively to the last couple Heisman Trophy running backs, is obviously far and above. But those guys didn't go against a Travis Hunter. So, how do those two things compare?
I put it this way. If you put Travis Hunter on Boise State, does it move the needle? But if you put Ashton Genty on Colorado, they probably make the playoffs.
I don't disagree with that. The question is it harder though going against candidates like Travis Hunter who are playing both ways in the spotlight where Ingram could have won it, against not such good players or necessarily just maybe a
Well,
quarterback with 4,000 yards or whatever.
if if Genty played for Alabama, he would win the Heisman.
Yeah, 100%.
It's all because he went to Boise State and because Travis Hunter is the darling of the media. If you watch, I've seen so many polls and like with the fans, and most of them are like 70% saying Genty should win the Heisman. But it's the quote unquote so smart media that what was it? Lewis Riddick got on Twitter like talking trash about fans about how stupid they are because they don't know how great Travis Hunter is and why he won and da da. Da. I'm
Right.
like, well, it's cool. Travis Hunter's great. He should not have won the Blitnikoff.
No, Nash should have won that for sure.
So that's why it's stupid. It's like it's not even about who's best. It's a popularity contest. He's great. He's good he's a good receiver and he's a good DB.
Yeah, don't disagree with that. So here, Wes, I want to take a secondary question. Would Austin Genty average 190 yards playing for Alabama?
No, I mean probably not. But I think he'll average over 100 playing the SEC. I mean, it's not just the stat. like if you're just going by stats, of course Ashton should win, but it's also the eye test. You just watch the way he runs the football. I think he's special. He's got the speed. He's got pretty good power, breakaway ability. But again, the Heisman's subjective. It's like it's
Well, so if he didn't have the stats he had, let's say, you think, let's say he averaged 120 yards a game at Alabama. Instead, he's at Alabama now. So now you've got him at maybe a 13 games, 100, 1,300, 1,600 yard season, right? Does that then compel his argument for that? Because statistically, right now, averaging 200 yards a game, it's crazy.
yeah.
So you take him to an Alabama, I don't think he averages 190 yards at
No,
Alabama.
no, he doesn't.
Well, what's the sample size? What has he done against top 5
But,
teams?
but here's another
He's put up
thing.
192 yards against Oregon.
Yeah, but what do we? I mean, let's talk about Colorado's competition. They play in the Big 12. I mean, Big 12 is not that great. Like I said, it's all subjective. I mean, it is kind of a popularity contest in a sense, but Hunter played so many more snaps than anybody else. I understand that. He's an Iron Man. But I think all three of us know about playing Iron Man football. It's a reality. If you really want to do it, you can do it. Anybody can do it.
Yeah,
Anybody
in high school with 26 players on your team, not in college.
Well, I mean, but here's the thing. It's even you don't have to play every play like we had to play. You could play both sides of the ball, but not play every play. Like Charles Woodson. I mean, Charles Woodson didn't play every play on offense.
No, and Charles Woodson, to be fair, played a lot more defense and offense
Yeah.
than compared to Travis Hunter. But Charles had a much better defensive statistics, right? More receptions, things like that. It's a hard argument because let's throw someone in like Dylan Gabriel just for fun. Even though he might not have the best quarterback statistics, he was very important to his team. So what is Heisman really about? Like who's really important to their team and help them get to where they are at the top. That says something for a guy like Dylan Gabriel, though, too.
Well,
Because now we're going to say statistics don't necessarily matter.
that's why there's not a college MVP award. It's the best player in college.
Which is Heisman is really the college
It's the
MVP,
Heisman, the best player in college. And that is why it was the closest Heisman vote in 20 years.
Right.
This is like, if they're like, you're watching ESPN and people are like, a couple days ago, they're like, there's not a debate this is after, Hunter won. Oh, there's not a debate. He's clear cut the best player. I mean, no, he's not. It's not clear cut. There's a huge debate because you actually have a lot of sports writers in this country that pick Genty. So
Right.
he's not the clear cut favorite. And I'll guarantee this right now. We'll find out who's better in the pros. Because in my opinion, what happened to Hunter last year? He got hurt. And that's what I see a potential issue for Hunter is he's not a very big guy. He's not Charles Woodson.
Yeah.
Charles Woodson's a different dude.
He'll have a lot less snaps though in the NFL because he's not playing both ways in the NFL. Let's not get that.
But that's the thing is that's his novelty is playing both ways.
Right.
When he goes to the NFL, is he really a top 3 pick as a corner?
At either position.
Yeah, at either position, no.
He might be a top 5 corner. I think he's a top 5 corner.
He could be.
He's definitely not, in my opinion, not a top 5 receiver.
Well, I'm not talking top 5 corner. I'm talking top 5 pick being just a corner.
Well, they're talking about him going to the Patriots 3.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
As a corner, not a receiver, which they need more, really. They already have Christian Gonzalez.
Let's just be fair to Hunter for a second and say when he gets to focus all his time on just corner, he may be better. Like we
Yeah,
don't know how good because you gotta admit when you're playing that many snaps, like it's hard to go back and forth that way and be at your best
right.
at both positions.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is now if you're being coached by Dion for 3 years, you better. I mean he knows everything. He should be a lockdown quarter. He should lock down his side of the field because
Right.
Dion knows. Do you think Dion hasn't taught him everything he knows
Right.
about playing corner?
Well, he said
He
it
has that
himself.
ability, you
Did you
know.
did you hear when Hunter said his whole goal in life basically is to be a better corner than Dion?
Yeah,
So
Heisman
he
football.
knows he's not playing any receiver.
And then
Yeah, I
for me,
mean,
the thing was, is
he might pick his spots, you know. But this idea that he's going to go to the NFL and play, no, he's not going to be an Iron Man. That's just ridiculous.
well, and that's my thing with the Heisman is it's mostly about what he could do, not what he did. He wasn't a top five receiver, not top five corner in stats on either side.
Yeah.
So why are you giving him the Heisman? Because he had the total snaps?
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, that's the tough part because
That's why.
it is this Heisman. It's not every Heisman because a lot of Heismans, if we go back, right, a lot of times it is the person who the guy who had the most yards, the most touchdowns, team did well. Um, it's a weird unicorn thing with Hunter, right? Because when's the last time we saw this? It was Charles Woodson.
Well, wasn't it Troy Edwards?
Oh, I mean a little bit, but his offensive statistics were
I think he had more interceptions than Travis Hunter.
well, it's not hard. He only had what, three?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm trying to say. It's not like he was like Charles Woodson, jumping in the air one-handed, getting
Yeah,
interceptions. And
Woodson had seven, right?
Which is
I think
badass.
I think Woodson had seven that year he won.
Dude, I love Charles Wilson. That's why it's hard for me.
Yeah.
Because when
The
when I
hardest
hear all
part,
this, I think of Charles Woodson. Charles Woodson has so many good plays those years.
right?
I know that's the thing. When I think Heisman, I think of,
Like amazing plays.
Yeah.
well, just like, well, are we going to remember anything about Hunter's season besides him playing a bunch of snaps?
No, I mean,
They didn't make the playoffs. I mean, they lost badly. Where was his defense and his receiving skills against Kansas?
he had some good receiving games. I mean, multiple like 10 receptions, 100, 150 yards.
When you talk about Heisman winners, they show up when you need them in
Right.
games. You don't lose to Kansas.
And they got beat up by Kansas.
So ultimately, I guess here's a question I have for you guys because this is on what's on my mind. And Derek, you mentioned this earlier: is Genty playing for Boise State? Does that is that the ultimate difference?
Yeah. For one, also, how many people watch their games?
Right.
How many of these sports writers actually watch a Boise State game?
Maybe highlights, maybe you know whatever they see on the internet, but none of them are watching the game. Sure, but again, I mean, how big is the Boise State thing?
Oh, man. I don't think. I think maybe they look at the competition of Boise's, schedule, but they did play Oregon. That's the only game they lost. They're in the
Right.
playoff. I mean,
The Oregon one's a big game for them because that's their crutch, right? That's what everybody's leaning on is
yeah.
the Oregon game,
All right. And he had 192 yards rushing in that
right?
game.
But
So
it's
it's
not
not
like
like he didn't show up.
right. No, he had a great game.
That's good. Yeah.
So here's of the last Heisman, who can you think of that came from a small college?
Well, what do you mean small? Like small as in
Like
Louisville?
Boise State small.
Well,
When's
back,
the last time a Heisman Trophy winner came out of a Boise State sized school?
was it David Klinger? Like
I
Houston?
From
mean,
Houston?
Yeah. It's a pretty small school
well, I
Uh,
don't
compared
even
to
know.
everybody
Let's
else.
see.
I mean, going back, I mean, I guess Lamar, Louisville is close.
Klingler didn't
Who
win.
cares?
It would have been Andre Ware from
Right.
Oh,
Houston.
excuse me.
Houston.
It's Andre Ware from Houston.
Or if you want to say Ty Detmer from BYU.
Why you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's that though? That's 30 years ago?
Yeah, it was 1989 and 90.
Those
Yeah.
are all
So,
stats, though.
But
Those
besides
stats.
that, yeah, even back you go farther, it's not even.
right. It's still all pretty
There's
big.
never been a
Well,
non-power five.
Flutie, even though that Boston College still is not a great school.
Right. But
I mean,
Boston College had some years where they were good.
yeah, I mean, so maybe you got one or two that you could be even a comparison to Boise State. So, yeah, I guess college makes all the difference. If you're not going to one of those big schools, apparently you're not winning the Heisman.
Well, remember, Boise is way West Coast, and it's not a Pac-12 school.
Right.
Yeah.
It is Boise. It is Idaho. It is on New York City's map. It isn't on their map. They think nothing of Boise or Idaho or Montana or Wyoming. So that does think I think that plays a little bit. But when you look at his stats, it's eye popping. And then you watch the highlights, you're like, this guy's pretty good. So, I mean,
Well, I mean, we know that, right? We watch him play and we know what makes a good running back and you know what makes a pro style running back, and he's obviously it.
Well, there's only been 3 running backs win since 2000,
Right.
yeah.
and 2 are from Alabama. And the other is Reggie Bush. That's
Right.
it. So
So
3.
it's almost it's statistically pretty hard to win a Heisman as a running back.
Well, that's kind of like I'm like I wish they would actually do the awards after the season. Because what if now if Genty goes into these college football playoffs,
Yeah, runs for
and
200 and wins
yeah,
12
then you're like,
games.
oh, whoops,
They
maybe
might
we should have
change
gone
it.
him because he's actually really good.
But here's the thing. They might change it because all these awards were set up pre anything, BCS, any of this crap. It was like you have one more game to play. That's the way now they have like 4 more games to play.
True. Like there are teams that potentially could play 4 more games.
Yeah.
That's actually crazy to me. So I was having a conversation with Paulie about this, and I was trying to explain like the impact of potentially 4 more games in a season after you've played a full season. Like, how tired are these kids going to be?
Well, plus, well, think about it. That's the whole rookie wall in the NFL, right? Right
Yeah.
now is the rookie wall because they're not used to playing these many games.
Right.
So maybe that's going to go away in the NFL. But yeah, in college, we might see some really bad games coming up.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Well, like when you're like Oregon and you have the bye, that bye is important
Yeah.
because you're gonna play. If let's say they get all the way, they go all the way to finish. Those are some pretty hard games you're playing 3 in a row. And this is unprecedented. It's never happened in college. So there's no variable to look at and say, oh yeah, this is what could happen. We don't know anything that can because it's never happened. You know?
Well, Derek and I were talking about this a couple podcasts ago. How it's almost kind of an advantage for you to not play in your conference championship,
Yeah.
because that's like a bye in the playoff.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
even the teams that got the bye, they had to play in their conference championship to get it, so they played the extra game
Well,
anyway.
but here's the thing
The teams that lose the conference championship, they played the conference championship and then didn't get a bye. They played an extra game.
Right. SMU and Texas got screwed.
Right. But like Indiana, they've had a huge break. And so now they're going to come in fairly rested. So maybe you just want to be the number like 6 seed that didn't play in a conference championship and then gets an easy game in the first round.
It's not going to be easy for anybody. That's the problem.
Well, I mean, it's
It,
true.
it, it's Indiana. Even if they win, then what are you doing? You're going to the quarterfinal.
But Notre
Two,
Dame feels good
three,
about it.
then four.
Like, how good is that rest for Notre Dame?
Yeah, because they never have to play a conference championship.
Right.
Well, yeah, Notre Dame always gets the advantage. That's why they're Notre Dame. You know,
What they need to do is get rid of the conference championship and then just go by regular season record.
well,
Just put them in.
but here's another problem too. You know, this problem's going to come up, especially because people are going to complain. Well, this team should have got in. This team, actually, the conference championship should be just a consolation game. You know, they don't have to be part. I think 12 teams is plenty of teams. And those last four, you can have consolation games to fill in the last spots. You know,
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but I'm an 8-team guy.
oh yeah, 8 teams should be enough. This 12,
It's all about care about like quality football product.
No, they want more
making
games.
money. That's why
More
they're not going to
money.
get rid of conference championships because it's money.
Well,
That's
here's the
huge.
thing. You open Pandora's box. You said 12. You're never going back to 8.
No.
It's done.
Well, now
It's a
they're
wrap.
going to
Now
16.
they want to go to 16 and make your high. You guys are done.
They're gonna have the March Madness
Yeah.
in December.
Exactly.
64 teams. They're
Thanksgiving.
just like, we're gonna take all of the NCAA right now. If you're like only what 40% aren't gonna make it.
It's done.
That'd be awesome.
It's basketball is different. That's what I guess.
Yeah, because you could play 2 games in 4 days.
Right. People don't understand. Like, could you imagine playing, 6, 7 football games after you already played 13?
No.
Well, they'd have to cut this regular season down if they did
Right.
that.
Oh, they would. But then again, that hurts. Their bottom line. It's all going to hurt. This system, like imagine Michigan. Like you're going to say, we're just going to cut out some of your games. It's like, no, you can't do that.
Well, did you see what the teams now? So the bigger schools, they came out and they said, "Hey, we're not going to play tougher out of conference games
No.
because it's just hurting us."
Yeah. Why would you?
I know Alabama against Mercer was such a bad thing for Alabama.
Well, that's the thing, but all it's going to do is hurt you when it comes time to, try to get in the playoff, get the bye, and play in your conference championship.
I don't know if it will hurt. I think that was just Alabama being butthurt because they thought their SEC schedule was good enough to be strength of schedule.
Yeah, it wasn't just Alabama though. There was
Ole Miss, yeah, all the
Miami.
butthurt SEC teams.
At South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Yeah.
There were a lot of SEC. And you're right though, but you gotta remember, and I don't care what anybody says, playing in the SEC is harder than playing in any other conference.
Right, I get that, but you don't lose to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma.
Right.
That's your reason for losing. It's not because your schedule's tough. It's because you lost to crappy teams.
They're style losses too. I mean, you have style points, and style losses is not scoring a touchdown against Oklahoma. I mean, they didn't score a touchdown. They lost 24-3.
But also,
that's a bad loss,
dude. 100 times out of 100 times, you will play Mercer over Oklahoma if you want to win. Right? So why even chance it against a tougher out of conference team?
But think about it. Do these guys really, really schedule tough games?
Not always, but there's some.
Once in a while. But
Wait.
yeah, so Alabama's tough game out of conference was Wisconsin this year.
Right.
Well,
but let's say that was a Penn State instead.
But here's another thing. What they do is they'll schedule a tough game, and then they'll schedule 2 cup games. Like next year, it's like, what's the big headliner? Texas at Ohio State, right? what's going to happen a couple weeks later? Texas is going to
Yeah.
play someone crappy. You know,
Well, what I was thinking about when we were talking about conference championships, and I agree, conference championships need to go. If you given the size of these conferences now, you don't have to play out of conference schedule at all anymore. You could literally play, there's 20 teams in your conference, right? You could literally play your whole schedule all in conference and then just take the top teams. That way, there is no like, who am I going to play? You played tougher out of conference. Like, you're just playing all in conference. And then you just take the top, two out of every conference.
Yeah, looking at Alabama's schedule next year. So they got Florida State, which, if it was a normal year,
We'll see. They're on the downfall.
yeah, then they got Louisiana Monroe, Wisconsin, so it was like a home and home, and then Eastern Illinois.
Right.
I didn't even know there was an Eastern Illinois.
Yeah, that's where
Really?
yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo or
No, that was a different Illinois. The Eastern Illinois?
Romo went there.
Oh, he did. Oh, wow.
I'm
That's
pretty
for-
sure that's where Romo went.
Eastern Illinois. That's what? Well, I thought it was Northern or something like that. I don't know. Oh, West Virginia. Oh.
Yeah, Romo was Eastern Illinois. Jimmy Garoppolo was Eastern Illinois.
Man. Are they MAC? Are they MAC actually?
Sean Payton was Eastern Illinois.
But are they MAC conference?
Um,
I don't think they're in the MAC. Yeah, fourth down here, West Virginia.
no, they're in the Ohio Valley Conference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're Division One.
Yeah, it says Division One.
Eastern Illinois?
Yeah.
Yeah. They've had a couple players.
Well, they had Garoppolo and Romo and Sean Payton.
Right. All right, so let's jump out of college football because we're gonna have a lot of college football coming up. But before we jump out, let's do all three of ours. Who's your Heisman winner and why? Let's go first.
I'll go. It was Gentee, the most dominant player in college football. Put up ungodly numbers and sat out like three halves for the team that's got the 3 seed in the college football playoff. So a Mountain West team gets a bye, mostly because of the way Gentee played.
Wes, what do you got?
I got the same. I had Genty. Just almost 2,500 yards. Actually, it was 2,500 yards.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and he'll break the record most likely because he only needs what, 150 or something like that.
But 13 games. I mean, still, it's just ridiculous, and so many more touchdowns.
Yeah, so it's hard because there's a lot of factors, but eye test, you watch him run, and I think that's not talked about what Derek said enough because how many games, because I'll tell you, I sports bet him quite a bit, that he didn't play in the second half or the fourth quarter, and you're like, God, I need 4 more rushes from him, and he's sitting. So if he could have had 3,000 yards is the point.
Well, like you said, for betting purposes, you had to bet for him to go over 200 yards.
But yeah, and you had to bet on that the game would be close and he wouldn't be sitting in the second half was the problem. So when I look at him, I think if he played 100% of every game with regular touches, he would have rushed for 3,000 yards, and then there would be no conversation.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to go with Genty in that situation. And I don't even think Travis Hunter's number two, in my personal opinion. I would, like I said, I thought Dylan Gabriel did enough to say I was the best player for my team or put my team in the best position to win. So I'll still go with Genty too. But all right, well, NFL, here we go. I mean, we just talked about this last night, so we're almost going backwards from weekend to week beginning, but just the Monday night games.
Boo.
Chicago and the Raiders have to be two of the worst teams I've seen play in a long time.
Well, what's sad? No, but what's sad is the Raiders had a chance to even win that game without how bad they were. Dude,
Right.
how do you get two blocked punts, a block extra point, a safety, and then someone like that one interception that was like, I was like, what in the world was that? And you still have the ball at
Yeah.
the end of the game with a chance to win.
Because Kirk Cousins is absolute trash. He is. He's trash.
And he knows he is. It sucks because you watch him and even the girl that's like asking him questions, she basically says, "Well, you guys won, but you kind of sucked tonight, didn't you?" And he's like, he basically said, "Yeah, I did. I'm sorry."
Yeah.
He's
Yeah, I
basically
did.
apologizing. It's like, dude, you're done. You lost all your confidence. It's like the passes he threw were atrocious. Like he should have 4 interceptions. You know?
It's not just the interceptions, it's the missed easy routes. So there was one play in particular, I think he was throwing to Ray McLeod. It was like a
And threw
little
behind him.
yeah, like a little 8 yard in
Yeah.
or whatever. And you're like, that's the easiest first down you're gonna make all game. But yeah, you throw it 2 yards behind him, he can't catch it. And that's when you know, like it's over, right? Like that's when you know it's time to put in, which obviously they're doing. But yeah, Cousins just blew that game.
Well, I think also I'm not a fan of Raheem Morris. I don't think he's a very good coach.
Right.
And like I'm watching the game and I'm like, other reasons I'm like, okay, Wes needs Bijan to get more yardage. And I'm watching the fourth quarter and it's like it's Algier. It's
Yeah.
dude, you're not up by 3 touchdowns.
Right.
Have your best players in the game.
Yeah. It's not time to take him out yet.
They're pitching the ball to Bijan like most of the game, and he's getting 5 to 7 yards every touch. Like he's just like boom, boom, boom down the field, And it's like, all right, you can run the ball. Now you think you could throw the ball because he's running effectively, and they can't do it for whatever reason it is. It's not all Cousins. It's what they're doing when you're running routes. You know, if Cousins is struggling throwing in the middle of the field, which you could obviously see that, then get it to the outside. You know,
Right.
seems like his checks are going in the middle of the field, and he's like, I'm just gonna throw the ball. It's like, no, you know.
Well, I hate to agree with anything the announcers say because it's usually not good, but if you look at the talent level on offense in particular between the Raiders and the Falcons, like just position by position, how could you ever imagine the Raiders would even be in that game?
Well, not only that is if you watch the Raiders try to run the ball, I swear the offensive line's like, we're not gonna block. Like there's so many plays, like they get the ball, and it's like, dude, they're guys, they are just it's like they're just like teenage girls rushing a man. It's like he has no chance to run the ball. It's like they didn't want to block. It's like it's almost like they didn't want to play. and they still almost won. And that's what's so sad about the Falcons.
Well, and
The
here's my
Raiders don't
thing
want to
about the
play.
Falcons, and this is, I think it's kind of like how the Cowboys for years and years, we over we we overthink over the ability of these Falcons skill players.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk. Bowers is 100 times better than Pitts. Um, Drake London, he's pretty good, and Bijan's good. But besides those two, what do you got?
Yeah, but if you
Um,
don't use your weapons effectively, like London,
yeah,
it's like, why are you not just partying London all the time? You know?
Mooney's solid. McLeod's
Mooney.
good.
Yeah, but I mean, so's Jacoby Myers and so is Tucker. So it's not like it's they're a million times better than the Raiders skill positions. It's like it's Bijan and Drake London. That's who's good.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Bowers, he's really good tight end, and he will be for a long time.
And Jacoby
Uh,
Myers is a good second option. But like
yeah,
when you have Desmond Ritter throwing you the ball,
well, that's a problem for
yeah,
Myers. It's like he's never had anybody good throwing him the ball.
And it's just
still put
every
up over 700 yards in 4 straight seasons. It's not
yeah,
like scrub.
exactly.
And
Again,
that's the thing. Is it the Falcons coaching staff, or is it that these players aren't as good as everyone makes them out to be?
It's a good question.
Because remember, I love Kyle Pitts when he was in college. He's done nothing in the pros. And every time it's like, oh, it's because the coaching staff doesn't know how to use him. Like, I mean, are you going to tell me the coaching staff for the Raiders is any good? They know how to use Bowers at least. Or is it just because Bowers is so good that you have to throw him the ball?
Well, and you don't have a lot else going for you. Yeah, Myers is decent, but you have no running game, no other wide receivers. Like Bowers is the best option.
Right.
But I mean, I definitely see what you're saying with Atlanta because there has been hype around them for a long time. Like we're talking about 2, 3 years almost now.
Yeah.
But you
Remember,
also brought in Kirk Cousins.
remember, oh, the Falcons are going to win the Super Bowl now. They got Kirk Cousins. Please. Go back when this happened, go watch our podcast about this. And we were like, nah, this isn't going to work.
No. Well, I don't even want to talk about the Bears game. The
Yeah.
Bears are the worst team in the NFL right now. Let's just put that there.
Well, I'm hearing that they want to get Vrabel, so that's good. With where's Wes? So he needs
It,
to hear
it's
this one.
it's
With
absolutely ridiculous to watch the Bears play right now.
yeah. Well, I was going to tell you that the
no,
Vrabel they want to get Vrabel's head coach. You know who they want to be OC?
no, what?
Josh McDaniels.
No, no, no. This is even better. What happened last night, and they were talking about all day today, which, dude, I don't know where these people get these ideas, but talking about trading picks for Kyle Shanahan.
Oh, they've been talking about that for weeks.
Why would you ever trade picks for a freaking coach? Like
You know?
Kyle Shanahan?
The
He's not,
Buccaneers won a Super Bowl doing it.
Dude,
dude.
it's not that complicated to get a better line. Like that's a pretty normal thing that a lot of teams have done over the years.
Well, yeah, that's all your GM. I mean, if Poles is you know, I think you've established that your line sucks by the fact that Caleb's he's basically last night they're showing him on the sideline crying in pain.
I'd be crying too if I got sacked
Yeah.
50 times.
And so they were talking about today on the early morning shows, and they're like, the Bears have really screwed this guy over. I mean, I don't let's just throw out his ability out the window. He should not even be playing. Why
Well,
would you
let's
even play him now? If you can't protect him, you're just going to get
right,
him
right.
hurt. And I'll tell you right now, you watch him run around the last couple weeks, he doesn't look as quick as he used like at Oklahoma. Just forget about it. He does not look like the same player. He looks like he's playing hurt.
Well, let's talk about let's just talk about Caleb for a second. Pocket presence, ability, athletic ability, all this stuff. Let me tell you what I've seen from Caleb Williams. I don't think he knows how to read a defense.
No, yeah, I agree.
I think he's got a great arm. He's super athletic. He's always been the most athletic guy with good people to throw to, but I don't think he actually knows how to read a defense.
I agree.
Well, that comes down to coaching because it's a rookie. He's a rookie quarterback who doesn't, and that's what they say about all rookies. When you come into the NFL, it's a lot faster.
Yeah. But still, like we learned how to read, or at least when I was playing quarterback, like I was looking at, is it man, is it, a zone, at least in college, in high school. There's not a lot. It's just man or zone, right? I have a hard time believing Caleb actually can read that.
Well, Lincoln Riley, you think that Lincoln Riley would have coached him up to actually read a defense? That's another thing too. Oh, this game. Oh, how do you drop that? Are you kidding me?
So if you can't, like, even whether you see a blitz coming or not, that's a harder thing to read because there's a lot of blitz bluffs.
What?
But if you can't, when you hike snap the ball, and if you can't see where corners are dropping, what safeties are doing, and understand whether it's maybe a cover two man, whatever cover three, if you can't read that, I don't care how good your arm is. I don't care how talented you are.
Well, I still think it still comes down to coaching. He's only a rookie. Remember, Peyton Manning threw a million interceptions his rookie year.
This is Peyton
But
Manning.
Peyton still knew how to read a defense. Like,
He knew how to read a defense. He threw like 30 interceptions.
He
Did he
did.
really know how to read a defense? That was rookie year?
He did. But what I see that's even more glaring is his inaccuracy. Even when there's not pressure. That could be from the fact that he's seen ghosts because he's been sacked like 50 times.
right.
And in his head, he can't. He's afraid. He's traumatized, and he's throwing the football. But how accurate was he really at USC? That's another thing too. Like I just don't think he's very accurate. And if he's not very accurate, then whoever coach is going to come in, he's going to have to build an offense around a guy who's very athletic, who can get outside the pocket, and if guys are open, he can hit them. But
Right.
in the pocket, he's not going to be an elite passer.
Yeah, obviously we've already seen with no time, like he's definitely been sacked way too many times. A lot of times, though, he's held the ball too long, which caused some of those sacks. So it's not all on the offensive line, which I don't think a lot of people understand. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with him, but that's my thing. Like, if you can't read the defense quickly, maybe you read it later, whatever, you're going to be an average quarterback.
Oh yeah, but also you're not going to know until you have a coach that's competent who can actually put up a route tree that is competent for his abilities. Maybe he can't throw a good 20-yard out, I mean, maybe he's just better on the run.
Dude, he can make all the throws. There's nothing like if you put Caleb in a 7-on-7 or just back there throwing routes, you're not going to find a better quarterback than him. When
Well,
you add in the rush and the defense, that's where he loses.
and you know what? I was joking about it, but maybe as an OC, Josh McDaniels would be good. Because what does Josh McDaniels do? He tells you as a quarterback, you don't get to think this is what you do. You don't get to do anything except what I tell you to do, right? So it
That
takes
might be
all
what
of
he needs. Yeah. No, he's really bad with that when he has to make decisions, and that's a problem for them. Uh, with no obviously all the coaching changes and stuff, like Chicago just looks horrible. Like it's painful to watch. I couldn't even. I watched the Raiders game.
and that was painful to watch too. Oh,
I watched the news. I was like, I'm just gonna watch the news for about 2 hours.
He's like, I'd rather look at drones
Yeah,
flying all over.
like being attacked by drones. I already see watch that, and
he was rewatching the replay of Buffalo, Detroit.
That was an interesting game. Geez, statistically, that just is nuts. Like you're talking about a 48-42 game. The Campbell early onside kick was weird. What do you guys think of that?
uh,
Like, why are you doing the onside kick there, beginning of the fourth quarter? I mean, you're like, what, a couple minutes in, maybe 3, 4 minutes in?
When you can't surprise teams anymore doing that,
Right.
that's
That's
dumb.
that's
it
the
was it
stupid
was
part.
12 minutes. It was 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter,
Right.
and you're down by 13 points, I think, and you're getting back into the game, and you do that, and it's just like desperation. It's just like I couldn't believe he did that. It's like you know, just try to play some defense. I mean, you never know. They could turn the ball over, but to sit there and then it was a bad bounce, and Holland returned it to the one. It's like, oh yeah, the game's over now. It's a wrap. You know.
I mean, it really did wrap the game up when you think about it. When Mac Hollins runs that back, and they score. But that's another point. It's like there is no surprise to it. So what's the point of doing it? You have to announce it.
Yeah.
Well, that's another problem too. It's like,
That's
I mean,
stupid.
think about the insanity of that. It's like it's gonna be onside because you have to change the formation to an onside.
But and then you have to go and tell the ref.
Yes, dude. I This is what boggles my mind about the NFL. Like, this is insanity. Like, how do you even think you're going to get away with it? Because before, like, remember in the Super Bowl when Sean Payton did it? Like, at the start of the second half? It's a surprise. Like, what the hell? What are you doing? Because no one was ready for it. If
Right.
you announce it to everybody, everyone's ready for it.
Dude, here, I just got the solution to the onside kick. It's called the Hail Mary. So instead of an onside kick, you get a Hail Mary from the 50. And if you don't get it, they get the ball on like the 35, whatever, same as like a kickoff. So you just get the one Hail Mary throw.
Well, I don't know what broadcaster was. It said something like doing like a 4th and 20.
Well,
Same
yeah.
thing, right? You're just going to chuck
Right.
it deep, right?
Well, they do that in the XFL or whatever, which
I
I
mean,
wouldn't mind either one of those.
I love the idea.
No, that's why not do a Hail Mary? I mean,
Okay, so let's wrap up this. Let's get back into week 15 here. Talked about our games, but going back through here, yeah, the Buffalo Detroit game was good. Houston didn't look great. Like, what's Houston right now? Let's talk about Houston for a second. 9-5, barely beat the Dolphins there, barely beat the Jags week before, lost to the Titans, lost to the or beat the Cowboys, but then lost to the Lions and Jets. So three
Mixon
and
doesn't have a
three,
good game for Wes.
dude,
and now you got Chiefs, Ravens, Titans to finish. So how are the Texans right now?
They just haven't been, that's the thing is be careful what it's sophomore slump. We all thought, oh, the Texans are going to be the next big, and they're going to be the next big team. They trade for Diggs. Now he's out for the season. Nico Collins is out for a long time. The offensive line is not very pass wise is not very good. CJ Stroud is, regressed. Their only bright spot has been Joe Mixon.
Are they still a Super Bowl contender?
No, not the way they're playing. They have the talent to, but they're not playing like a Super Bowl contender.
What do you think, Wes? Houston Super Bowl contender?
No, I mean, even without Mahomes this week, I don't even know if they can beat them. I mean, they're just not playing well. It's, I mean, if Mixon's not going to give you anything, then I don't see who else is going to give you anything. You know. Oh,
Okay, so AFC right now, Houston's winning the South, not a contender. KC 13-1, obviously. Buffalo really had a good showing, beating Detroit 11-3. And then you got Pittsburgh, who just lost to Philly, but still leading at 10-4. And then Baltimore 9-5 right behind them.
And they play this.
So yeah, Baltimore Steelers play, right?
Yeah.
So Kansas City Buffalo, is that the AFC right now, or what do you guys think?
Can't count out the Ravens still.
So if you have to take a top three, you put in the Ravens. If you have to take a top two, are you going to replace either Buffalo or
No,
Kansas City?
no.
I don't.
Josh Allen is playing ungodly this season. Like
Yes.
he's cut down. The big thing about Josh Allen was his YOLO and he's not doing that anymore. He's not turning the ball over.
Yeah.
Well, and he's also taking a little more control of the game. I think once you get inside the 10, he's like, I'm going to score. Like, you're not going to stop me.
Right. Well, it's just like,
So if you have to take top two, it's Buffalo, Kansas City, right?
Yeah.
And then three, you add in Baltimore, maybe Pittsburgh. That game will be a big. Pittsburgh just doesn't look good to me. Great defense, but I'm not. Dude, Russell Wilson's not taking you to a Super Bowl.
nah. In the perfect conditions he could, but as you saw in the Philadelphia game,
He
if
looks
you if you
horrible.
I know because here's the thing. Under pressure,
Right.
when everything's down and everything doesn't go perfectly as planned, like he always tries to, you know, to limit all the things that can go wrong, he's just an average quarterback. They're
Well,
off.
he short arms passes. He
Short.
rushes passes, and that doesn't work in the playoffs. Like you need to extend plays. You need to extend passes. You can't, underthrow 5 yards because you got pressure. That's when you need to make the throws. The Philly game and the last Cleveland loss, both of those, he was just playing horrible.
Yeah.
Well, the Cleveland one wasn't it the snow though?
It was a snow game,
Blizzard.
but I mean, yeah, obviously weather. You can bring that in.
Yeah. The those are obvious. I mean, because AFC's it's becoming pretty obvious who. I mean, yes, Buffalo Chiefs 1A, one, whatever you want to say that it is. And then the Ravens are right there. And then I'd say the Steelers. And surprisingly, you got the Broncos right there.
But
But
can the Broncos beat any of those teams you just talked about?
probably not. But here's even a bigger wild card is the Bengals. if the Bengals win the rest of their games and the Dolphins lose and the Bengals sneak into the playoffs at 9-8, do you
So you're
want to play the
saying there's a
Bengals?
chance.
You want to play your team, Steve, in the playoffs? You want to play Burrow and Chase
No,
and T.
absolutely
Higgins?
not.
I would
And,
love
and
to
that,
because of that defense.
Their
but here's the
defense is
thing.
pretty
But you
bad.
know what I'm doing? I am doing everything I can just to patchwork the defense so you can hold teams to at least 24.
Right.
You know, like
But
the Titans put up 27 on them last week.
there is always a point to you never want to play the team. It's like, remember the old Denver Nuggets, dude?
Yeah.
You never wanted to play the Nuggets when they're scoring 140 points a game.
Yeah.
Even though you were scoring 150.
Yeah.
Like that was never a fun game, dude. And that's what the Bengals remind me of is that, yeah, they don't have their defense is awful. But at the same time, you better score 40, or otherwise you're not going to win.
Yeah.
But so you're saying the Chargers would have to lose 2 out of 3 games, and their
Right.
last 3 are the Broncos, the Patriots, and the Raiders.
But
Well,
then the Broncos could actually lose out because the Broncos also play the Bengals.
here's the thing about the Chargers have the advantage because
Yeah,
you
really what
should-
you're doing is taking the Broncos out,
I
putting
think
the
I think
Chargers
the
in.
Broncos can beat
Well,
the
the
Chargers.
Broncos are 3 games up on the Bengals.
Oh yeah.
So they'd have to lose all 3 games.
All three.
And then, the Chargers are 2 games up on the Bengals.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much this weekend, we could have a wrap on the.
Yeah.
Oh, AFC playoffs will be a wrap this weekend for sure.
But yeah, that's the thing is if in a crazy scenario, you don't I would much rather see the Chargers or the Broncos than the Bengals in the playoffs. Because the Chargers looks like they don't have any offense. And
I agree.
What you get with the Broncos. The Broncos, they're a nice team, but they're not ready for the playoffs.
100%. I would rather play the Broncos or the Chargers over the Bengals. I don't care about record. You don't want to play especially when it matters, right? If it was for a playoff game, you're going to throw in, Burrow and Higgins and Chase and then Chase Brown, Gesicki. Like they have so many weapons.
You didn't mention anyone on defense.
No.
Well, of course I didn't because their
That's
defense
the
is
new
trash,
NFL.
dude.
It's like they don't care about. Look at Buffalo's defense. Like everyone's talking about Buffalo. It's like they've given up like 90 points in the last 2 games. That's their problem. Like here's one problem with Buffalo: you don't have a defense. It's a plug and play.
They're injured though.
Defense. Yeah, but everybody's injured now. I mean,
Here's the thing: the Chargers put up 34 points on the Bengals and beat them.
Well, of course. But what did the Chargers do last week? They got killed by the Bucs. It's like they were doing okay. Now they're not because their offense. You know what they're going to have to do in the offseason? They're going to have to get some weapons.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert is overrated. You want to talk about? They talked about Josh Allen being the most overrated player in the NFL. No, it's Justin Herbert.
Let's go back to my conversation where you guys were calling me crazy a few weeks ago when I said they should have taken Malik Neighbors or Brock Bowers instead of Joe Alt.
Well, that's a matter of here's the thing. You can get in this draft, in any draft, there's always going to be there's going to be a high volume of really good receivers. We don't even know if Neighbors can stay healthy. This season, he seems pretty banged up. I mean,
Well, I should have played him in fantasy.
Huh?
I should have played Neighbors in fantasy. Cost me a lot of points.
Dynasty.
Well, dude, don't even talk about that. If I would have played Brian Thomas, ours wouldn't even be close.
Well, but I legitimately took out Neighbors and put Tracy in though, so that's a difference. You weren't even thinking about playing Thomas.
Wow.
I
But
actually was like, I removed Neighbors, and I was like, oh, Tracy's going to do much better. And that was stupid.
no. But here's the thing, Derek, you have a point here. Is I think everybody wants to know, and if you get Neighbors, you can throw out this discussion about, if Herbert has Neighbors, then Herbert should be an all-pro quarterback when you have weapons like that. Now you have a weapon, okay? But it just seems like against the Kansas City game. I mean, you got Palmer wide open in the middle of the field. That's Joe Burrow's throwing it. That's a touchdown.
Yeah, he overthrew
Joe
him.
Burrow throws it, touchdown. He overthrows him by like 5 yards.
Well, and that was why I was never high on Herbert coming out of college because I was like, he didn't,
No.
you know, he didn't look that great. He was at Oregon, but he wasn't Mariota. He wasn't Nix.
No.
He wasn't Dylan Gabriel, right?
He was not. Yeah, he was
He
not.
wasn't
very
Dennis.
good.
He wasn't even Dennis Dixon or
He's got-
Jeremiah Masoli even.
But
He's got good
only-
arm strength.
They just said
He's
it.
not great. He's not very accurate.
No.
And you've seen that his whole. I mean, statistically, though, understand like his statistics are as good as any quarterback. If
But
you
he
compare,
Uh,
before this year had Keenan Allen and Mike Williams.
but you compare
again-
his like years that he's been in the league to any other quarterback statistically, and he's as good.
But there's also a lot of people that talk about quarterback play, and they break, everybody down into four. Can you make those 4 or 5 plays in a game when
Right.
you actually have to have those plays? Can you make those plays?
No, he hasn't. He's missed so many passes in the fourth quarter. It's an accuracy issue, 100%.
And he's throwing interceptions in the fourth quarter.
Right.
That tells you something.
It's totally. He has an accuracy problem, 100%, 100%. But he has the tools physically to be a great quarterback.
If
He's got
anyone
height
is
and
to help
speed
him,
and arm strength and everything.
Yeah, if Jim Harbaugh, I mean, he was a quarterback. He could help. Like, if anyone's going to, if he can't do it, nobody can do it.
Right. Yeah, I'm not a Herbert fan, but like tools wise, the guy's got a lot.
Well, that's the issue. That's all that's ever been said about Herbert is like, oh, he's going to be so good. He's going to look at him play. And then it never materializes on the field.
It doesn't translate to wins, is what it doesn't do.
Yeah.
Statistically, it's materialized. Like again, you can't argue statistics with him. But what you can say is he misses passes in the fourth quarter, doesn't win the big game, and hasn't been able to advance in the playoffs. But if you just want to look at their statistics and not look at record and not look at any other things, you would look at that and you'd be like, wow, he's really good.
Right. Well, this will be the year. If they go into the playoffs and lose in the first round, then you're like, well, before it was Herbert got a pass because his coaching staff sucked.
Right.
Now we're like, well, he got Harbaugh. You have no excuse.
Yeah, you can't get much better than that.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is you know what? We'll see, because Derek, you're probably right also that most likely the Chargers are going to make the playoffs. How can you lose?
No, yeah, they're
2 of those
8-6.
3. You're playing the Raiders, who want to lose. The Raiders
Patriots.
are playing. I know their offensive line's like, hey, dude, we don't want to block anymore. Like, they don't want to play.
Spoiler alert, they'll probably win this week to piss me off and knock us out of a chance to get one of the top 2 quarterbacks.
Aren't we playing Jacksonville?
Yeah,
No, we'll lose.
hopefully. Mac Jones.
We're rooting for our team to lose. It's awesome. No, you know what's funny? I was going to say this last night, but I was too depressed. I was going to say, no one talks about the Raiders tanking because we suck that bad. Like, you know how everyone's like, the Giants are tanking. No, like, they won't even say about the Raiders. Like, no, we suck that bad.
To be fair about the Raiders, they've got a million injuries though.
Well, actually, couldn't the Bengals, isn't it more likely they beat out the Broncos?
The Broncos would have to lose all 3 games.
Yeah. But they
I
are
know,
playing
but
KC.
look at the games, right? Because the tiebreaker is against the Bengals. The Chargers are trying to make the playoffs, and then you got to play the Chiefs.
The
Yeah.
Chiefs game will be that I bet you Mahomes, they're not even
They
playing.
may not care at that point.
Well, they might have to because it might be for home field
Yeah,
advantage.
it could be. It could be a home field game.
Because I think, oh my God, dude, this game's insane.
It might not be a home field game though, because they're 13-1 and Bills are 11-3.
Dude, both
Yeah,
teams
I
has
don't think so.
officially arrived. No,
I don't see how the Bengals can make it.
no, what? Yeah.
First off, the Bengals have to win all their games,
But
which
here,
I don't think
that's
they'll do.
what I'm saying is, let's just say it actually happened. I don't want to play the Bengals in the playoffs
Right.
in those teams. Nobody looks that good except the Bills, but the Bills' defense looked bad. They look like they are banged up.
We gave up 500 yards to Goff.
Now, if we're talking, I
Well,
know
look at Stafford.
because I could see the Dolphins winning all three of their next games.
Well, don't they play the what?
They have the Niners, Browns, and Jets.
Right.
Well,
They'll be in a bad tiebreaker situation though,
yeah. And look at Tua last week; throws 3 interceptions.
because they haven't played any of those teams that they have tiebreakers against. So
And they're just locking. They locked up Tyreek last. What do you think about that? Like Tyreek didn't
That's
get
another reason Steve's staying in it with me right now.
Dude.
When I get 0 from Cooper Cup and
Yeah.
then nothing from Tyreek.
well, it was a bad fantasy week for both of us. Luckily, it's pretty even right now. Coming into the final week here. All right, well let's get into this week's picks, and then we'll wrap up. We got some fantasy football to talk about, but let's pull up our picks here.
Oh, they're so lucky.
Well, I think it's probably a wrap at this point that Derek has pulled off the win for the season.
Yeah, let's get Derek the
Unless I
trophy.
pick every opposite team and win.
No,
We only
it's
got
all right.
3 weeks left, so
How many games in my head? Like 10?
Oh, you gotta be.
no, you were 11 before this week, so you're still
Well, me
11
and Wes
on
are tied,
West.
so still.
Right. So you're still 11 on West, but now you're like 14 on me because I won a lot of swing games last week and it didn't work out.
Well, I went off the limb on some games here, so you might win getting some games back.
All right, well, let's go. Here you go. HSC Podcast, Week 16 NFL picks. Start with Thursday night game, Denver at the Chargers. And I'll lead off here. I'm going with Denver on this game. Just the Chargers' offense does not look strong. Denver's defense is decent. I think it's a close game in LA, obviously, but I'm going to take Denver by 3.
I got to take the Chargers here. That way, the Broncos can lose 3 games and the Bengals can make the playoffs. So I'm going to take the Chargers here to cover.
Chargers by 4, 3.5.
Yeah.
Wes, what do you got?
I'm taking the Broncos. I just think the Chargers are spiraling a little bit. I
A
mean,
little bit.
that was a bad loss against the Bucks, but you never know. They could rebound and they can win, or I just think they're spiraling. So I'm gonna just pick the Broncos.
3 out of the last 4, barely beat the Falcons. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't look good. All right. Well, Houston at Kansas City. Derek, what do you got?
This one is tough to pick on a Tuesday because right now the Texans are favored on the road, which means Vegas thinks Mahomes isn't playing.
This is a plan, right?
But I'm still taking Kansas City.
Boo.
at Kansas City.
Yeah.
Because it's Carson Wentz, man. I will never trust a Carson. A Carson anything. Carson Beck, Carson Wentz. I'm going Houston.
What about Carson Daly?
Boo. What is Carson do? Wait, isn't he doing
He,
years?
he
Like
said, "What is a
he,
Carson
he
Daly?"
thinks he's Dick Clark or what, dude? No,
He might be the new one.
whatever. It's Ryan Seacrest. Hello.
It is Ryan Seacrest. You're right. Well, I'm going to take Kansas City as well because it's in Kansas City, and I think Houston is having as many problems as anybody else. And Carson Wentz is interchangeable with that offense. There are things obviously that Mahomes does that he can't do, but they're just a fucking juggernaut.
Well, and it's not like their offense is that good with Mahomes right now. It's their
No, that's what I'm
defense.
saying. It's like they just do the same thing all the
Oh,
time,
you
every
can't say
time.
that. He is the he's the best quarterback of our generation. Come on, guys. So stop here. That's what everyone says. We should all believe it.
Right, right, right. So, regardless, I'm taking Kansas City. Let's see. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Wes, what you got?
Ooh. Oh, that's easy. It's Baltimore. They're playing at home. Like I said, Baltimore's, Lamar, what is he? 34 touchdowns, three interceptions.
He needs to be giving Derrick Henry the ball more, is what I'm talking
Whoa,
about.
whoa, whoa! That's the playoffs.
No, yeah. 34 touchdowns, three receptions is pretty incredible.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're gonna put up points that Pittsburgh. I don't think. How healthy is Watt? Is he even gonna play? He looked pretty. I guess he's walking around fine, but I just think they have too much offense. I'm taking ball.
I will also take Baltimore here in a dominating fashion. I think they cover the spread. I'll take them by 10. And I'll say Bateman has another big game.
Yeah, I'm taking Baltimore also. I'm pretty sure Watt isn't going to play, which changes that defense completely. And so I'm taking the Ravens to win and Derrick Henry to get me to the championship game.
No touchdowns for Derrick Henry. Sorry. They're going to get there and they give to Justice Hill. He's the touchdown vulture. Uh, Sunday games, the Giants at Atlanta.
Oh God.
I'm taking Atlanta here, obviously. The Giants are dysfunctional. I think Penix plays well. Not great, not great. He's not gonna come out and, throw 350 yards, but he's playing the Giants. So Penix has a good game. Atlanta covers in Atlanta.
I am taking the Giants.
Whoa.
Nice.
Penix going in as a rookie, his first, start. Think he's going to have jitters. I don't think he's going to be doing that great early on. He'll take a few games before he gets his play, and I think Tracy and Neighbors have big games, sadly.
Nice. I'm putting them both in.
Yeah. The Derek strategy. It's like, okay.
Right. He's trying to trick me. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
He's taking the loss on purpose because he has a big lead to then try to tell me to play Neighbors and Tracy.
Or am I saying this because you'll think I'm saying it for that reason, but I really don't want you
Right.
to
Yeah.
play them?
It's like the opposite of the opposite.
It was psych ops here.
What do you got, Wes?
I'm going with Atlanta. I just can't trust anything that comes out of New York with any of those teams. It's just uh, Atlanta. They'll be close though.
Will they cover 8?
No.
So you're really taking the Giants.
Well, I mean, they'll win by 6-5, something like that.
Yeah. Detroit at Chicago, Derek.
I'll get a win back here. I'm going to take Detroit in this one. Chicago's it was yeah, Monday was pretty bad to watch. So yeah, I'm taking well, it's only a 6.5. I don't know why. It should be a lot higher. So yeah, I'm
In
taking
Chicago. Detroit's a
you're gonna
dome
invite
team
me.
now.
No. So I got to go with Dan Campbell because of his speech today. Derek was 1000% right about Dan Campbell. I was wrong. Tired of eating, it's like you get comfortable eating fillets and filet mignons. Sometimes you got to go back to eat. You know what? That's what
Knees.
he said today. Did you hear that? That speech he gave on
You
the
gotta
radio?
eat knees.
Gotta eat the
Yeah.
kneecap. Well, dude, they just tell me a team that with so many injuries and they're still dominant.
There's like they have 17 injuries on defense. And then David Montgomery. It's just stupid. Yeah, I'm taking Detroit.
Good, because I'm taking the Bears.
Oh, yes. Oh, jeez.
In Chicago,
Oh,
Detroit cannot play in the cold. So Chicago's playing the spoiler here, and Minnesota comes back and wins the division. That's what's going to happen. No, I mean I'm taking the Bears obviously because I said I'm going to take them all year, but they probably won't win.
well, that's why
I
you're 11
actually
games.
put
Why you're 11
Detroit.
games back, dude.
I put Detroit down on the list and I deleted it. And I said, nope, taking Chicago. So yeah, that's probably another swing game towards you guys, but taking Chicago. Cleveland at Cincinnati, Wes.
Oh, I'm taking Cincinnati. Joey B's back, man.
Right.
It was
We need
funny
a big game.
watch him on the sideline yelling at his coach when he's cussing out his coach. It was awesome. He's like, I don't need you, dude. I don't need a coach. I'm like LeBron. I'm a player coach. I don't need a coach. You suck.
Must be something when you get to Ohio.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still taking Cincinnati as well because I need a huge game here out of
Oh yeah.
Cincinnati. My fantasy season's on the line, but I do think Cleveland, their defense is crazy because it's just, I don't know if there's been a worse decline in defense from one year to the next. Has that ever happened? From the best defense in the league to like maybe bottom 10, bottom
I'm
5?
sure. I don't know.
Because it's
Nobody's thinking
bad.
about defense anymore, so we don't know.
But now you're playing an all offensive team. Your defense isn't playing well, and you want to throw the ball too with Winston. It's a shootout, and Cincinnati wins by at least 10. What you got, Derek?
Well, we know that if Bengals don't have a defense, then who knows? Winston could go for 500 yards.
No, it's DTR playing. They benched him. DTR.
What? They benched Jameis?
He
Yep,
came in the last
he
game.
did.
Is
Oh
he
gosh.
starting?
Well, I
Yeah,
was
they
going to take the
benched him.
Bengals anyway, but that's even more. I mean, at least with Jameis, it's exciting.
Ah,
Well, and I mean, Chubb's horrible, not running the ball well. Like they have to throw the ball.
Yeah.
So all Cincinnati there. Let's see. Tennessee at Indianapolis. at home for Indianapolis, I'm going to take them to cover the 3.5
Jeez.
because Tennessee, like you just don't know where you know you're gonna get a decent defense, but Will Levis could throw 6 picks. So
No, they benched
Well,
him
he's
too.
benched too.
They benched him too. Mason Rudolph, your buddy
Raul
Mason.
Rudolph could throw 100 picks. So
It's amazing. Mason Rudolph. Hey, it's like it is Christmas. Yeah, Rudolph.
it doesn't matter to Tennessee. I think Indianapolis is technically still in it.
Yeah.
They went
So
out and
they have to win. So Indianapolis has to win this game. There's
Oh,
zero
oh, don't
reason.
even get me started on Indianapolis, dude. Don't. Are you kidding me?
There's
We haven't
zero
talked
reason.
about Indianapolis.
Well, I'm taking Indianapolis, so that's
Oh
what I'm
my
going to
God.
cover.
yeah, I'm taking the Colts too. I can't trust the team.
Oh, dude. Who throws a backwards pass and gets picked off for a pick six?
Oh,
Costing me 7 points there. And then freaking Jonathan Taylor drops the ball,
drops the ball.
cost me another 7 points. Dude, I would be really in fantasy right now if he would have done those two
Well,
plays.
you're
Those
still
two
right
that-
there.
I'm
Don't.
taking the Titans.
That's an
No.
interesting reason to take the Titans, Wes.
Well,
But
you
I
took the
get it.
Bears all year.
I
You
get
probably
it.
would have won this year if you would have taken opposite of the Bears.
True. I'd be right there. I'd be close. Um, yeah. I mean, I get it. That's what I'm saying. All right, Derek. Rams at the Jets.
Well, I'm taking the Rams here, but the Jets, this is why I might be benching Cooper Kupp. They still have one of the best pass defenses in the NFL right now. So they're only giving up 194 yards passing per game. But I'm still taking the Rams because I hate the Jets.
That's an interesting play there. What do you got, Wes?
Well, I'm taking the Rams all the way.
Yeah.
I the Jets, I don't even know. I don't really know anything about them anymore. I guess Aaron Rodgers got a documentary coming out, Enigma or Enema or whatever it's called.
Hit him.
He's not going to be
Enema
playing
sounds
anymore.
more likely for Aaron Rodgers.
It really is.
Well, I mean, it obviously doesn't matter to the Jets. The Rams have to win the game. So when you come this late in the season, you start to thinking about like who needs to win, who doesn't care about winning. And so I'm going to take the Rams as well. 3 points, yeah, they cover that easy. I got the Rams by 9. Philly at the Commanders. Wes, what do you think about that?
Ooh, big game for me. Ooh.
Well, that's a big game for you.
Oh, jeez. And because of that, I'm taking the Commanders. Let's go, Commodores. All comes down to this.
So you need
Daniels
Scary
got
Terry.
100 yards.
Yeah.
McLaurin's going to have 3 touchdowns. Commanders.
You got to stop Saquon.
We're going to stop Saquon somehow.
Oh, so yeah, you got to do both.
Yeah. Dude, I'll be watching that game.
Dude, that's a big game, dude. 10 a.m. I'm gonna have to watch that game. Uh, wow. A lot of implications there in the fantasy, but the Commanders just don't look very good. And Philly doesn't look great, but they're starting to Hurts is starting to throw the ball to Brown, which opens up then Smith. And that just makes things better for Saquon. But I don't think Saquon has a big game. I think this game comes down to AJ Brown, Devonta Smith having big games, and Philly wins big. I got Philly by 14.
Dang. Yeah, I got Philly winning here too. I think Jaden Daniels, he was sacked 8 times last week, so Yeah, I'm taking the Eagles, but hopefully he puts up big numbers for US.
You guys just don't believe.
Let's see. Arizona at Carolina. Um,
Jeez.
I'm taking Arizona. They need the win, obviously, to stay relevant. Carolina's just bad. They look better on and off sporadically, but if you actually watch them play, it's painful.
Dude, what do you mean watch them play? That's all we've watched.
I
Because the
know, like
last
the last 3
3 weeks,
weeks.
all we've gotten is Carolina. It's like
It's crazy.
what is anything about Oregon have involved Carolina that we watched the worst team the last 3 weeks?
Well, it keeps making me like bet on Bryce Young because I keep
No, I
seeing him
mean,
every week.
I'm taking Arizona. Just the fact that I don't want to see Carolina anymore. They better not be on TV this week.
What do you got, Derek?
Yeah, I'm taking the Cards. They still have a chance. They're only with if the Commanders lose, can potentially move
Commanders
up
will
into the.
not lose. I will will them to win.
I'm putting money on Jaden Daniels to run for 2 touchdowns. I'll get some good odds on that.
Prospect.
Minnesota at Seattle. Derek, what do you got?
Ooh.
Oh, I can't trust Seattle anymore. Every time I think, oh yeah, Seattle's back, then they get blown out. So I'm gonna take the Vikings here on the road.
Another favorite too.
Well, good. Did anybody watch the Sunday night game? I mean, Gino goes down. Is Gino gonna play? He better play.
No, he
Because
might. I
I
mean,
didn't think Gino was ever that good in the first place.
right,
Sam Howell, like, dude, this dude's wild. Like, he just doesn't care. It's like, I'm just gonna throw the ball. It
dude.
doesn't
He
matter who's in the
does.
way.
He throws the ball. Doesn't matter to
Yeah,
who.
yeah. No, I'm taking the Vikings.
Yeah, you can't do that against
No,
what's Brian Flores defense, dude.
yeah, no.
So I definitely am taking Minnesota here because either way, if it comes, Seattle's just not that good, and they have so many good weapons. They don't use them right. Maybe it's a coaching problem, but I think it's a quarterback problem, to be honest. So I'll take Seattle as well, or Minnesota as well. New England at Buffalo. I think we're all taking Buffalo here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not much reason to talk about that game. At Buffalo, right? The only question is, do they cover 14?
I think so.
Yeah. And this is when they're gonna lose, watch, but
Right. I got them by 21. So Jacksonville at the Raiders. This
Oh,
might be the worst game of the week. They don't even put a point spread on it. They're like even.
no way. Is Trevor Lawrence playing?
no, I think it's Mac Jones, dude.
It is Mac Jones.
All right. That was, yeah, doesn't matter. They
Wes,
get
what do you got?
pitched. Oh, God. Mac Jones versus Desmond
The,
Ritter.
Las Vegas
I
Raiders.
think O'Connell's gonna play though.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take the Raiders, even though they shouldn't win because there's like 5, 3, and 11 teams right now. So we should lose, but we'll win.
No. Mac Jones.
The Mac, return of the Mac.
It's going to give you even more of a reason to dislike him.
Oh yeah, he's already on the whole. He's on like third string all hate team.
He's going to throw 4
Oh
touchdowns,
jeez.
and not one of them is going to be to Brian Thomas.
All four will be to Brian Thomas.
Well, we'll see what you do with him, but I'm taking the Jags here.
Oh, I
I
already put him in the lineup. And just because I've been a Raider fan my entire almost life, and I've known in the last 2020 they're going to win this game because
okay.
because that screws them out of Shador Sanders or Cam Ward.
He's like the only way the Raiders can screw themselves is to win this game.
And then that's what's going to happen. Because like if they would have beaten the Falcons last week, they would have moved down to 7
Oh, that's
from 2,
funny.
from number
Right,
1 to 7.
So
right.
And
Antonio
this week,
Harris is going to inspire them because he knows he's going to lose his job. He's
yep.
going to inspire the team to play the best of their ability. All 11 rookies starting,
Oh my gosh.
and they're going to go out there and win one for the Gipper, right?
It's
So
going to be an offensive onslaught. Brian Thomas is going to have like 3 touchdowns. Brock Bowers will have 15 catches.
I think
This
it's going to be a
is
high-scoring game too.
this is Derek's fantasy football
Yeah.
dream. But we all know it's going to go opposite.
Derek's going to win fantasy football, and the Raiders are going to suck for a decade after that.
Brian Thomas will go hurt in the first play. Brock Bowers will have 0 catches. That's what's going to happen.
You know what will happen though then? Burrow and Chase will have bad games too, and we'll still end up like
No,
within a
they
few
won't even
points.
play. They won't be questionable. They won't be anything. And then they'll just not play after I
And then
start them.
our game will be like 80 to 79, and Wes and the other and Tom's will be like 200 to
300
190.
to 284.
And they either could have played either their team and won. All right. San Francisco at Miami. Horrible game here.
Is that Sunday night?
Not yet. No.
Oh, it's a
I'll take. I'm going San Francisco here because I don't know why. Both these teams are a mystery. I hate both of them. They should be good. They're bad, and you don't know who's going to show up from week to week for either team. So I'm just going to stay with San Francisco because Tua throws 3 interceptions.
Yeah, I'm taking the Dolphins here. They've got something to play for. They didn't look that great last week, but I think they're in a it's just the 49ers don't look right. Like they don't like to want to play. And Brock Purdy doesn't look great, but he wants like that huge extension. So yeah. They're talking about Shanahan getting fired, which is crazy. So yeah, I'm taking the Dolphins.
of course. It's a revenge game. Super Bowl 19. It is revenge. 40 years later. And the Dolphins are going to come out in their old, cool Dolphins uniforms with the cool looking Dolphins, except instead of the stupid one they wear every week. And they're going to beat the Niners. And they're going to win by 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns.
How well is Tyreek gonna play in the game?
Yeah,
Going to have 3 touchdown catches.
but they only had 2 touchdowns. They can't. You can't have
They'll
3.
win by 2 touchdowns.
Win by 2.
Oh, so now Derek's got Tyreek with 3 touchdowns and Brock with 3 touchdowns and Brian Thomas. Dude, you're gonna have like
No, Brian
400
Thomas
points.
has 3 touchdowns. Brock's just gonna have 15 receptions.
Oh, right. Yeah. So you're still gonna have 400 points. So, all right. Well, it's a good swing game for me. I'll take it. Let's see. So Tampa Bay. This is the Sunday night game. Tampa Bay at Dallas.
Why? Why can't this be flexed?
What? They can't
What?
flex that out?
I'm like, why are and you know why? It's because it's the Cowboys and stupid Cowboy fans are gonna watch it.
Right. You know they're
Oh,
going to get
God.
millions and millions of views. That's the way it is.
Because Tampa's actually fighting for a division, and Dallas is just sucking like you
Dallas is not mathematically eliminated.
did.
They're saying there's a
You're
chance
saying there's a chance.
to save Mike McCarthy's job.
It's all about Mike McCarthy. Yeah.
Well, Wes, what do you got here?
Well, I did see a quote about Jerry Jones likes to eat raccoon on a regular basis. And so I don't know why he said that. And it just makes me think that yeah, they're gonna lose. Just
I
I just
thought it
want
was squirrel.
it was on T it said raccoon. I'm like, and we're like
No,
looking at it, I'm
I
like,
saw a thing where it was like he liked to eat like the squirrel brains.
Dude,
dude,
and I saw an AI of, aliens.
really?
No,
Coming
I'm
up
just saying that's
strong?
everything we've seen. It doesn't exist. So,
Go Tampa.
so I'm taking Tampa as well.
Yeah, me too.
They're a 4-point favorite. I think they cover. Dallas runs the ball well. Dollar runs the ball well, but Baker throws for 300 yards. And to Wes's advantage, Mike Evans has another big game.
Yep.
Cowboys owner Jerry Jones defends eating squirrel brains. Seriously, it's wonderful.
Jesus.
But
It's
oh yeah, you're right.
horrible.
The Jerry Jones talks about eating raccoons and squirrel brains. He's from
So
Arkansas.
horrible.
I understand that, but why do we need to know that? Think about it.
Just likes
It's
to
it's
share. Good
Jerry
share.
Jones says it's not
Maybe that's where he
uncommon at
got all his
all.
brain power. Running an organization.
You never know, dude. There might be a lot of protein in
Oh yeah.
the squirrel and the raccoon, dude. More, way more.
Oh, I love this.
It's like eating salmon
Here. Finally, an explanation for Jerry Jones' squirrel-brained Cowboys roster moves.
because he's literally eating squirrel brain. Got it. Let's wrap this up. New Orleans, Green Bay. Green Bay. I don't know how you can pick New Orleans here. I don't know if you guys even saw their statistics. It's like if it wasn't Kamara, like they had nothing.
Yeah. It's
So I don't see any way New Orleans goes in and beats Green Bay here.
like I
They're a
said.
14-point favorite.
Oh yeah. Like I said, New Orleans already won their Super Bowl, beating Dallas. That was their Super Bowl.
Game one.
They're gonna hold up the trophy because everyone gets a trophy nowadays. That was their Super Bowl, and then they suck. So yeah, I'm taking Green Bay.
Yeah, to be fair, they had lost Olave, Shaheed, and Carr for most of the season.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, I'm taking the Packers here. Although the Saints did get 8 sacks on Jaden Daniels last week and only lost by one
Yeah,
with
and
nothing.
they've won 3 of their last 5. I
I
mean,
could
I would
see
love to see the Packers lose.
I could see Jordan Love, throwing off his back foot 50 times and throwing 3 interceptions, but still taking the Packers because it's in
Yeah.
Green Bay. Probably going to be cold.
When you lose 7 games in a row in the season, it's hard to bet on you.
All I can
All
wish
right.
Christmas get us a snow game, right?
Christmas, we might have some snow here in town.
What?
What? What are you talking about?
You guys better check it out.
Oh crap.
Sucks.
Well, that wraps it up. I got a few swing games. This is last of the 3 weeks. Can't catch up, but this will be a good start. Then next week I'm gonna go all opposite. So we'll see what happens there. But Derek's wrap it up. So fantasy football, HSC podcast, fantasy football. We're in the playoffs. Derek and I are playing. Wes, you're playing Tom. Interesting that everybody that's out like scored really well this week, and Derek and I had our worst weeks of the year. It's interesting how it played out, right? Because you take the 2 highest scoring teams, have their two worst weeks, but yet they're playing each other. Because if we were playing Tom, if I was playing Tom, you're playing Wes, or either or, like
We'd
we'd
be
both
done.
be done. Like it'd be so hard to come back and
No.
score an extra 50, 60 points on them to beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was what's crazy. What I had Tyreek with 5.6, Cup with 0, Bowers was 6.5, and Henry was 6.7. And I'm still winning by what, 4?
Oh yeah. I mean, I had nothing from Tracy, nothing from Bigsby. Pollard had not a good game. Metcalf had not a good game. Plus, you got 22 from Kansas City defense, dude.
Yeah, dude, Jameis Winston.
22 from your defense. The highest scoring guy on our whole week was your defense. And then West puts up 155 and you're still down by 9.
Well, you could blame freaking the Colts. The effing Colts. Denver got their defense got 20 points on the Colts.
20, he got 20 out of his defense. Dude, but
Yeah.
and then he had 41 out of Josh Allen.
Oh, yeah. Of course, I got to play Josh Allen and Saquon Barkley. And I'm only down by 9.
Well, because, dude,
you got
Chase Brown
30.
and T. Higgins.
And of
You got
course, Josh
37,
Allen's playing the
dude.
New England Patriots next week.
Dude, you got 37 of Mike Evans, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Dude, I love that man. I accidentally
that
picked
man.
him. I
Dude, your
accidentally
kicker.
picked him.
Dude, your kicker had 18 points.
I know. It was all strategic.
I would be telling you, if I was Tom, I'd be pissed.
I would be pissed too, dude. Because he should have dominated that week. But your kicker and Evans, dude.
And Mixon, I need Mixon to show up. Mixon.
Yeah,
Points.
Mixon didn't have a great game.
No.
You need a tight end, is what you need.
Kraft didn't do anything. Kraft didn't give me anything.
But
Kraft
you don't even
was-
have a backup tight end. Who else are you going to play?
Well, it's because backup.
It's because,
you have one tight end.
Steve, it was because you drafted McBride, and so I had to take Bowers.
Boo.
Because then if Wes would have Bowers,
Oh,
he'd
dude.
definitely be.
I was so mad when you took Bowers. I was like, no, Derek, don't do it.
Yeah,
That had to be
that's
done.
tough though, Wes. Dude, you need a tight end, dude.
In my one other league, I start Bowers and Trey McBride.
I would too.
I will say,
Yeah.
this one league that I'm in, I had Josh Allen going and Connor and Brian Thomas all starting. That was 100 points from those 3 players.
It's okay. My
Right.
last player that's going to play on Christmas Eve is Kraft. Kraft's going to have a few touchdowns.
Crap.
That's what you're going with, huh?
Going. Kraft and McColl.
Is it Christmas Eve?
Yep. That's Christmas Eve, dude.
I thought
Monday.
Monday's not Christmas Eve, dude.
Oh, they said Christmas Eve. Is it
Oh yeah.
23rd?
Christmas Eve
Yeah.
is Tuesday.
They say Christmas Eve, yeah, okay. So it's Christmas Eve before Christmas Eve. Okay.
Yeah. It's first
The
Christmas
dumb
Eve.
girl on ESPN who said,
I will say this is kind of messed up though for the Chiefs, Steelers, Ravens, and Texans. They have to play 3 games in 11
Yeah.
days,
Right.
and
the
they're all
Chiefs have to
playoff
play
contenders.
on Wednesday.
Yeah,
Well, this is what it comes down to for this week, fantasy football. Not a lot of difference between us so we got two we're all in games. Wes is playing Tom, Derek and I are playing. Derek, you and I are within 4 points,
Yeah.
and Wes and
What, we're
Tom are
like
within
eight,
9 points, right?
9.
8 points.
Yeah.
So if Wes can win and either of us wins, we're bringing back the HSC ring.
Yeah, it's almost 10 points. Wes is down.
So Wes, if you lose, putting us in danger here.
Because neither me or Steve's team looks that good right now.
Not
Let me
looking
just
good
sub
right
myself in at tight end and I'll just play.
now.
A good try for the Niners right now.
Dude, there's Schultz is out there. Fryermuth.
He'll drop someone and then Kraft will get 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, don't.
You never know. Isaiah Likely's out there still.
Yeah. There's good choices. Like that's what happened to me. I was like, oh, I'm gonna put in Tracy and Bigsby, and then it cost me 30 points.
Dead.
So you overthink it, you screw yourself sometimes.
I'll talk to my assistant about it. Chill.
I mean, that literally happened, like in the morning. I was like, I'm putting these two guys in.
He tinkered.
Yeah. Overthought it. So, all right. Well, we'll see how that plays out. We'll have an update for y'all. Don't forget to comment. I think next week, we'll wrap up what we talked about this week and go in and we'll have a good top five. So if anybody has any good top five, I think we're gonna go Christmas movies next week because
After
obviously
Christmas, we're going to do Christmas movies.
we'll do weird. We're gonna do Christmas movies, but um, yeah, we'll get in that. So any comments appreciated, and I'm excited. I don't know about you guys, but I can't wait for the playoffs, college football playoffs, especially.
Yeah, Friday, right?
Yeah. So we're getting started on the 20th.
Yep.
Notre Dame.
So can't wait to see that. And then we go from there, we go to NFL playoffs, and then, to the horrible time of year with no football. But we'll get there. We'll wrap up. One last question. Who wins the HSC fantasy football? Choose your winner. Who's going to win it?
It's gonna be
No, I
dead.
said Tom last week because it's still probably Tom.
Tom's team's deep, too.
Yeah. The only thing that
Yeah,
you
will
gotta
make
play
it
the
where
right
he
players.
doesn't win is if they decide to rest Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Right. That's trouble. That's trouble.
He's gonna put Bucky Irvin for Montgomery. I know that. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Because Montgomery's done. Which that kind of hurts him, but he's got Bucky Irving. Like
I'm saying I'm gonna win. Taking myself.
That's going to be hard when you don't make it to the championship
Take
game.
myself. That's it.
yeah,
What are you guys taking?
I'm taking Derek.
Taking there.
Well, dude, he's not even going to have to put his AJ Brown in instead of Bucky Irving.
Right.
Oh,
You put
that's-
AJ Brown.
Oh, great.
Is AJ Brown on the bench?
Boo.
So Derek, you're going with Tom. Wes, you're going with Derek. I'm taking myself.
Of course, Steve's taking himself. Why wouldn't he?
That's how we do it. All right, we'll wrap it up. Thanks for listening. See you guys next time.